Good job, everyone. I'm Greg Yawitz, board chair of the Jewish Federation of St. Louis.
And I'm Brian Herstig, the president and CEO of the Federation of St. Louis.
Welcome to our weekly Friday video chats. We're glad to have you join us again. It's been a pretty busy week, Federation.
A lot going on.
A lot going on. Still not in the building, but still working remotely and getting quite a bit done. One of the things we did do this week, we had a virtual Zoom board meeting, which was, we did at 7:30 in the morning, which of course there was some question from the board members why we needed to do it that early, but that's when we had it on the calendar. And we had a great board meeting, lots of great topics. And one of the things that happened, as you know, Brian, is due to the overwhelming generosity of our community and our over 428 donors, our COVID response fund has raised about $680,000.
Wow.
Amazingly kicked off by the generosity of Carol and Michael Steinberg with their $100,000 match grant, and have just turned that into an amazing amount of money to help deal with the needs of our community.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, and to that end, as our community investment team has been assessing the needs of the community, they brought forth some recommendations to the board yesterday for a second round of distributions and disbursements from the funds. And the dollars, of course, for this new round of distributions are in addition to the ones we made about a month ago that were about $116,000 in the areas of mental health, financial assistance, and food needs.
Yeah. And, as we talked about earlier, one of the things we did specifically was not call this an emergency fund. This is a response fund. This is a response to the COVID crisis to deal with the short and the long-term implications from it. And we believe that it's going to be a long road. And so we are working hard to make sure that while we're meeting the immediate needs that exist in the community, we're also working hard to make sure that we will have funds available for the longer-term needs that are going to exist 6, 9, 12 months down the road. But the funds that were just approved on Thursday morning include an additional $75,000 to meet the needs of the Jewish community's food insecure families and individuals, as well as a pool of $50,000 to support Jewish organizations and fund technological tools that are essential to their business continuity during this current crisis. For those technology grants, there is an application that is up online already. It's very short, and application grants are due by midnight on June 4th, and the COVID-19 task force that we have internally will review all of those applications and make decisions within a week, so by June 11th. You can find information about everything about these two funds, as well as the application for applying for the technology funds on our website at jfedstl.org. And as important as that work is, to keeping our community strong right now, we've gotten very virtual in our work in a lot of other ways.
Oh, absolutely. And just rolling back for a minute about that technology process, what's great is our new strategic plan and our new methodology around assessment and planning and investment and evaluation made it so that we could see that need, create the case to do it, get the board to approve it, and within 30 hours put the application up online for our partners to be able to submit for grants, because we know that in this new paradigm, for the time being, technology is going to be the backbone of how a lot of people do business or communicate or engage. And so if there's ways we as a federation can help with that, and knowing that the application's already up, deadline's in a week or so, and we'll turn around those applications quickly and make decisions, just shows me that our new process is functioning even in these challenging times. So
it's a good process.
Exactly. And so Brian said, as Brian mentioned, there's a lot of virtual things going on. You know, we talk every week about the links online to virtual services and other activities, but, you know, I thought we'd highlight a few of the things that have happened in the last week. Women's Philanthropy kicked off their weekly Wednesdays with Women's Philanthropy. They're 25-minute virtual sessions to connect women around various topics. They take place every Wednesday at 4 p.m. through June the 10th. And if you miss a session, again, thanks to the wonders of technology, they're all recorded and online, so you can watch them online at your discretion. The first session focused on finding humor in challenging times with Amy Fenster-Brown, who is always funny. The session this week had tips around staying organized with professional organizer Lizzie Klein. And next week, they're going to hear from Rabbi Andrea Goldstein to learn how they can find balance through mindfulness.
Wow. That's unfortunate. It's only for women. I could use all three of those things. Something else that you and I did participate in this past week, even though it is intended for women, was that we had an opportunity to celebrate our Lions of Judah. Lion of Judah is a special giving society for women who give $5,000 or more annually to the Federation. We held a special virtual program featuring Deborah Feldman, the author of Unorthodox, if you've seen it on Netflix, and the inspiration for Esty Shapiro in that series of the same name. 130 women, along with Greg and I, and maybe one or two other men, joined to hear Deborah's story of leaving everything she knew behind and finding her independence and starting a new life. It was really, really incredible to hear from this Orthodox woman who felt like there was something else out there for her, and her story about how and why she did that and what she learned about herself and her family and what community means. It was really incredible.
Yeah, I even though, you know, it was a women's event and, you know, you and I were on, it was fascinating to hear her journey and where she is now and the reasons she lives where she lives and how the creation of the show came about in the book. And so, you know, I was very intrigued by the conversation and the questions and thought, you know, it was a really great women's event for guys too. But, you know, so be it. Also, our YPD, Your Place Discovered, professional group, they held a virtual mixology event, which now that one I should have gone on. And they got
up your alley.
Yes, I managed to get on the women's event, but not the mixology event. And so they learned how some tricks around mixology and were able to enjoy each other's company. You know, during this time of where we're all socially distant and separated, they got to at least see each other on the screen and learn some new skills around beverage creation, which I personally find fascinating.
Yeah, I know. Kind of moving into the next week, you know, we have a holiday weekend. We actually have two holiday weekends. It's Memorial Day on Monday, and if you celebrate Shavuot, Friday is a holiday as well. So two long weekends in some ways. There are a lot of learning and celebration opportunities around Shavuot, a lot of things going on in the community on Thursday evening and Friday. So please visit the Federation's website, jfed.stl.org, to learn more about all the events that are being held around the community and the festival of Shavuot. And I wanted to say one additional thing, Greg. I know that this week and last week, people have been hearing a lot of things about summer and summer plans and opportunities or opportunities that might be cut short because of everything that's going on. I just wanted to let people know that the Federation has been talking with a group of providers, both teen workers and, you know, those places that usually provide camps, to try and talk through and figure out some opportunities for both school-age children and teens during this very unique summer where they're not going to be able to do what it is they planned on, what parents had hoped would be going on, but trying to find ways to create opportunities for them to connect to one another, to connect to the community, and to help make a difference, even if the summer isn't going to look like what they thought it would. And we're working with a lot of different partners around that and trying to work together with national organizations as well to make sure that there are appropriate activities for children and teens this summer as best as we can.
Well, that's great. I mean, again, we've identified a need, right? We know this, and tying all these things together, harnessing the technology to create our ability to communicate together as a community with all of our partners, both locally and nationally, and experts, we can get together and work on this as a team for the betterment of our entire community. And of course, then best practices can be shared among other communities as well. And yeah, there's a lot of teens that were either going to go to camp or work in a camp. And, you know, how do parents handle it relative to work if they're going back to work? And it's going to be a challenging summer. And hopefully we at the Federation can help be that conduit to help the ideas come forth to address some of these challenges. Speaking of camp, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, every week we talk about the flagpole series. It has been extended for at least 2 more weeks. So if that's part of your regular Thursday night at 7 o'clock Facebook Live practice, just know that it did not end as planned after 4 weeks. It'll continue for a couple of more weeks, which is just great.
Yeah, they've been really great, especially if you're a camp person. I'm thinking back on our conversation over the past couple minutes, and I think it's touched on the 3 things. I sometimes say that we are the FCC. We do fundraising, and we talked about that. We do convening, and we talked about that, and we help communicate, bring communications out. And I think that we've touched on all those 3 things. So the Federation is FCC. Maybe a little FCC, not the big FCC, but I'm really appreciative of the work, Greg, that you do in helping to lead the organization and the board and the entire board for all of their work during a really trying time to meet the needs of the community and make sure that we are taking care of those that are the most vulnerable and support our community as best as we can. And I'd be remiss if I also didn't thank the staff for all of their hard work over the past 8 weeks particularly, but certainly ongoing.
Oh, it's the amount that our staff and you and the entire team is getting done in light of all the challenges. It's nothing short of amazing, and on short notice. And board approves disbursements for technology on Thursday. We vote around 9 o'clock in the morning, and we've already got the application up online. Yeah. It'll be better when we're able to be together in person again and when people can work in the office safely. But in the interim, the staff and your leadership of the staff have kept us moving forward as the little FCC, not the big burdensome governmental FCC. And it's a great acronym because it's truly, that's what we're here for. We're here to help the community with resources, with communication and convening this so that we can all do this together. So I'm honored to be the board chair at this time. It doesn't come as a surprise. It's a little more work than I anticipated, but this is where we are, and this is what needs to be done. And so our community's been very generous. Our lay leaders have been extremely generous with their time, and our staff and you have been doing a great job. So it's an honor to do it, and I look forward to a day when we can do it in person.
Me too. And on that, I will say Shabbat Shalom to you and everyone else.
Shabbat Shalom. We, as Brian said, wish you a happy Memorial Day weekend and Shavuot coming up next week. And we look forward to seeing you again on our Friday update.
Take care.